Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of We Watch Shudder. My name is Michelle, and who's here with me?
My name is JD. Yeah, that's who it is. It's J.
It's
I don't know why
JD.
I did that so awkwardly, but yeah, it's JD.
Eh,
It's
I think I think what you and I do most of the time is awkward. So
yeah,
that's
you're
probably why.
probably
It's
right
very
on.
difficult for me to do things not awkwardly,
I
like
think it was because
starting
out
the
of my.
episode.
I think maybe it's because out of the corner of my peripherals, I was seeing my dog lick things that I would rather not see my dog lick. That
I
might have had something to do with what derailed my brain there for a minute.
I have questions, but I don't want answers to them.
No, you
There's a
don't. You
long
don't
list
want to
of
know.
things.
So,
Okay, great.
let's just, guys, look, let's just dive right in. You get most of you probably know already why you're here. We watched a movie called Stop Motion. Michelle had seen it a while back, not knowing that it was going to be dropping on Shudder. How long ago did you see it, Michelle?
A month, maybe two, when it became
Okay,
available to rent. I don't
sure.
remember when exactly.
And I have a couple friends who managed to see it theatrically, and so this was very anticipated. And if you heard the episode we did just 2 days ago, that's also it's called Stop Motion Part One. This is Stop Motion Part Two. You will know that I finished watching the movie 5 minutes before we started recording the episode, and I was not prepared. I needed to watch the movie another time. I couldn't process what I had seen, and so we hit the brakes and we decided to come back and talk about it later. Now, here's the thing: if you want the spoiler-free version, that's in that other episode. We're not going to waste time with it here today.
Well, we do need to know your rating, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
We're going
I
to
mean,
start
we could
there.
do spoiler free
I
with the
was
ratings from each of us. And
so I
then
was
we're going to
just
dive in very quickly.
I had a whole plan. I probably should have informed you of my plan rather than just assuming you would psychically understand. See, what I
Yeah,
was going
I
to
don't
do
know why I
is
started the episode since
literally
you
literally what I
immediately
was
went
going to
with your
do
plan.
say was I don't think we need to do a spoiler-free section, but we do need to get my score. And then you said, but we need to get your score.
Yeah,
Yeah. Anyway, so Michelle gave it 4.5 skulls. Is that correct?
that is correct.
Do you want to give I guess, yeah, let's give a quick. You were right. Of
Yeah.
course you were right. I should have listened to you.
Always.
All
Always.
right.
Well, maybe not. I'm not very often correct. You guys, we don't edit. In case this is your first episode, this is just who we are is who you get. We are these people. This is our way of life.
Right.
Awkward
We're
and
not we're not trying to impress anybody.
oh god,
Clearly.
can you imagine if we were? That would be a
Oh,
failure.
this would be tragic if we were trying
Oh,
to impress anyone.
thank God. Then it's not tragic. It's just fun. Okay, my thoughts. Stop motion is creepy as hell. This is creepy as hell. I think that so far I haven't really encountered stop motion that has never made me feel uncomfortable. Fucking Gumby, I've talked about before. Gumby, nightmare inducing, not a kids show, very very horrifying. And this, it's stop motion that's trying to be horrific. Good job. 4.5 out of 5.
4.5 out of 5 for Michelle on stop motion. So I have now seen the film a second time. In fact, I started watching it a third time. I only made it about halfway through the third time, but I am going to finish watching it again. Which should be everything you need to. So I watched it the second time, and now I'm immediately watching it a third time. I think that tells you everything you need to know. If I could go past 5 skulls, I would. This movie. Now, I also want to be clear when we get I have thoughts and ideas about this movie and an interpretation of it that I haven't really seen a lot of people talking about. And so I may just be completely out of left field, but watching through this a second time, my experience was wild, and I'm super excited to talk about it. This is a fantastic film.
Well, when you said you were when you messaged earlier, because I did not know how JD was going to feel about this. We like to save it for the podcast, and sometimes he can't help but give hints. And when he said I'm going to try to watch it a third time before we record, I knew you would never subject yourself to a third viewing within
It's
48 hours if you did not like it.
it took me a minute, and then once there was, I don't even remember exactly what it was, but there was a linchpin that dropped into place, and I started, like, all these different pieces started falling into play as an analysis of the film, and I was, it's like I picked the lock and beheld the cosmos, and it was like, holy fuck. This
Yeah.
movie is, I think, significantly heavier than a lot of people realize.
Okay. Well, I think we should go into spoiler territory, plot summary from me, and then you just go off because I think we're about
Yeah,
to have a Mad God or a Late Night with the Devil thing where you
yeah.
saw things that nobody else did.
I do want to say before we get into this, guys, this discussion is going to involve some heavy stuff. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about child abuse. And if that's rough for you, you may want to avoid this one.
And if you love
But
child abuse, you're in for a treat. I
Michelle,
don't know what you're about to say. So,
I'm trying to give a trigger warning without
I
saying trigger
know.
warning because I hate buzzwords. Buzzwords are thought control.
Yeah. And I am letting you give your trigger warning, but
Yeah,
still being funny about it.
yeah. Well, I
It's what I
appreciate you,
do. I cannot be a serious person. It's not who I
guys.
am.
I'm sorry. We're really going to get into this, but I have to address this, Michelle.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to start doing this in a video format. Guys, you can't see what I can see. Michelle is wearing this, like, when I say ridiculous, I mean ridiculous in the most awesome of ways. It's
I
like
was
it's
cold.
like somewhere between a giant, like, Sherpa blanket
Hmm.
and a bathrobe.
Yeah, it's essentially
But it's
a
not a
blanket with a hood.
snuggie, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's she looks like like a giant. She looks like she's wearing like an Inuit parka. It's wild.
I
Anyway,
don't know if I
that's
told you,
gonna.
but it does have pockets too. It's a
Oh
blanket
my
with a
god,
hood and pockets. It's
that's
it's my comfort Sherpa.
frankly that's gonna make it maybe a little difficult to talk about in the serious depth that I think I'm going to. But anyway,
Okay, just don't look at the
uh,
camera.
yeah, stop motion.
Oh,
I do strongly recommend you see this one before I get. And keep in mind, I could be completely wrong and off base, but man, I think I know what this movie is about.
ooh, I okay. I had ideas about what this was about. 0% of my ideas included anything related to child abuse. So I really sometimes you figure stuff out and I'm like it makes perfect sense. Um so even yeah, I'm excited. I don't know why I'm even let's just get into spoiler territory. Shall we? Should we
Let's
stop
do it.
stopping the motion and we
Let's
should
do it. And the way this usually starts is Michelle gives us a summary of the plot of the film just off the top of her head in a way that
mhm.
only she can really do for people
Only
like
me.
Jenna, who's still. Michelle, do you realize that I sent Jenna a message last night saying, because I wanted to talk about this movie with somebody who had seen it. So I was like, hey, have you seen Stop Motion? And she's like, no, I want to. Where can I see it? Jenna, where do you think you can see it?
Well, she
Come
knows we
on.
don't always watch Shudder, but I did drive home from Medora, North Dakota with Jenna, and she did say she was going to watch it because she found out it dropped on Shudder. So she
Ah.
told me she's gonna watch. Jenna, who never watches the movie, Jenna is going to watch the movie and then come back, because she is gonna have thoughts on this too. I
Michelle,
know she will.
when is she just gonna become our third co-host? Like, when are we just gonna bite the bullet and do that?
I just like making her an elusive creature who
Oh,
sometimes comes
that's
on that
fair.
is referenced in
That's
every
fair.
single episode.
I like that.
Yeah,
I
she's
like
elusive
that.
like a yeti.
Fair. I'm sure she'll really appreciate that comparison.
I know she will because on the way home we saw a car with a lot of stickers and one of them was a Yeti and we went, "Okay, that person's cool. We know that now." So like we established if they have a Yeti sticker, they're fine.
Right, but
So yeah.
that doesn't necessarily mean she wants to be compared to a Yeti.
Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that she doesn't.
That's fair. That's fair. Anyway, let's
Okay.
stop.
Plot.
Let's. How are we 10 minutes into another? We did 30 minutes on that first episode, almost 25 minutes, and I think about 5 of it was about the movie. Uh,
This
this
is what
is
we do.
again. This is a welcome to the show. Michelle, please, for people who have not watched it, tell them
Ooh.
what happens in this movie.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I'm going to be funny today. Let's see what comes out, shall we? Okay. So Ella, she's a lady. She has a mom. You know, most people do at some point, not always, but most of the time. Anyway, she's got a mom, and her mom, she does stop motion, hence the name. And her mom, she's a little crickety crackety, and she can't do stop motion anymore because her hands won't let her. So then her daughter Ella, she's like, "Okay, I will animate for you." But they have a very tense, not great relationship. So her mom's like, "You have to move it just little tiny, little bitty little to the left." And that's exactly how her mom talks. If you watch the movie, that's 100% an accurate impression. She's like, blah, 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 to the left, to the left. Everything you own in the box to the left. That's a Beyonce reference. Anyway, so she's telling her how to do her thing, and then Ella's doing the thing, and she's clearly unhappy. And she's like, "Mom, I'd like to have my own opinion." And her mom's like, "Well, I'll tell you my opinion on that, and you shouldn't." And Ella's like, "Oh, you're right. I will just be my own little puppet." So then her mom, she's in the hospital now. Oh no, and she's not gonna make it. So Ella finds her own place, and she's gonna live there, and she's gonna make a masterpiece. And guess what? She fucking can't. She's Ella. She's got writer's block, but like it's a writer's block of clay artist. But anyway, so she meets a child and she's like, "Ah, yes, a child. I should befriend this child and listen to their advice on how to make a movie." And the child's like, "I have imagination and I'm full of hope and optimism." Somehow the child sounds exactly like Ella's mom. I think that's why they got along so well. So then the child's like, "Hey, I'm going to give you a really dark story and you should tell it." And Ella's like, "That sounds like a great idea." And so the kid's like, "There's a man and he's called the Ashman and he's chasing a lady, and the lady has when she's in a stop motion format, oh man, the noises she makes kind of comical, very scary. Why is she cooing like that? Very uncomfortable. I had a hard time. Do I like it? Do I love it? Do I want some more of it? I did. I guess all stop motion creatures just need to coo some more. Also, we're just going to be full of musical references for the rest of the time. Don't worry, I'm never going to give you up, never going to let you down. I will continue going with the song references. Uh, Meet me in the club, got a bottle full of bub. If you need to hit me up, whatever the fuck that Nelly reference is. Or 50 Cent. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Anyway, what was I saying? So Ella, she's friends with the kid, and the kid's got a fucked up brain. And she's like, "I'm going to take all your advice." And then Ella's boyfriend, he's there sometimes. I should probably mention him. The boyfriend, he's got a sister. You know, a bunch of people do that too. Nothing unique. Not something to write home about, sir. Stop bragging about having a sister, okay? And then the sister's like, "Hey, Ella, I'm going to steal your idea." And Ella's like, "I don't like that. I'm going to yell at you at the job where you have me making eyeballs." Out of context, that's a great job. I wish I could make eyeballs. And then some shit goes down. Turns out the kid's not real. Ella's just been making her own shit the whole time. There's a whole thing of like, she's the stop motion lady, and then she's not. And what the fuck is reality? Her mom dies. Did her mom even say anything in the hospital room? We don't fucking know. Now Ella's tearing a tendon out of her leg and she's making her creatures out of meat because apparently that's what the Ash Man needs to really become realistic. And then her boyfriend and the shitty sister, they show up and she's like, "I'm gonna fucking kill you and make you into my creatures in my movie." And they're like, "I don't like that." And she's like, "You don't get a fucking opinion. You're dead now." Just like I didn't get an opinion because my mom had all the opinions. And anyway, I made a masterpiece and now I'm sleepy. So I'm gonna go in the box and take a nap. The end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot.
Yeah, I'm so ashamed that I don't remember So Find Me in the Club anything other than that. I can't even remember the artist. I am so ashamed. I'm so sorry, everyone. It played at the wedding I was at last night, I
I
think.
I'm curious if you at any point were gonna like. I don't think you ever mentioned the fact that Ella kills several people.
Yeah, at the end she makes them into meat creatures. See, that's all
Oh,
you need to know.
she also kills the kid at one point.
Yeah, but like did she? No.
Yeah, but you
So
didn't
what
know until she had already killed the kid that she didn't kill the kid.
I was just getting to the important stuff. She tried to kill a kid and failed. Why would I put that in the plot summary?
Because
The
it's one of
kid's
the
not
best
responsible.
squelches I've ever seen in my life.
Wait, there might be a second squelch in this because that's not the
Oh,
squelch I caught.
there's a beautiful squelch right as the kid's neck, like her trachea snaps under the pressure of this woman. Like it's that
There's
gross
two
sound effect,
squelches.
and it just says squelch. Right, and you don't see it, but you hear it, and you see the subtitle, and it's fucking heavy.
Perfect. I will go grab that. If it's your first time tuning in, I collect squelching subtitles. You can find them on our website under the squelch files. I'm up to like as of today like 1100 or something. It's my way of coping with my life. So I might go collect that squelch while you talk about your thoughts on this
Well,
very icky
actually,
spooky movie.
Michelle,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best to give you some time to find it here. If you think you can do it in about 60 seconds,
Oh,
but
yeah.
what I'd actually like to do,
Okay.
because I have a lot to say, and
Yeah.
you said that you think that I saw some things here that maybe you did not. I think what I would like to do is I would like to hear your interpretation of this film, and
Okay.
then I will tell you what I saw. How does that sound?
Sure, but my interpretation
Okay.
is going to be so light. So
That's okay.
essentially, there's
That'll be
a
half the
blend
fun.
between there's a blend between reality and not reality. Ella has been a puppet her whole life, and now she is continuing to be a puppet well past the point where she wants to. Even after her mom dies, she continues to be a puppet. She's losing her mind. At the end, she goes into that room, which was the room from the set, and then she goes in the box, and then she's just it's a metaphor for her being a puppet. But I don't even care like what my opinion on this is. It's she's a puppet. She'll continue to be a puppet. There's two squelching subtitles. It's a good movie. I really need to
So,
hear all your
uh,
opinions.
so let me ask you a couple of quick questions. Who do you think the child is?
A figment of her imagination,
Okay.
which is like,
Um,
uh, yeah, that's a dumb answer because of course she
what,
is.
what do you think the black egg that cracks open and shows red inside represents?
Great fucking question. I don't know for sure. I thought it was the birth of an idea, but that didn't even make sense to me. That was just where I went with it.
Who is the Ashman? Who do you think the Ashman is?
Oh God, this feels like English class where I'm like, I read the book, I promise. Uh, so the Ashman, is it like, well, I know where you're about to go with it because you gave us a heads up, but I was thinking he's like her inability to create and he's catching up with her and gonna destroy her. But I know that's wrong because you have a much better opinion.
I wouldn't say it's wrong. Look, there's a lot of
Certainly not
things
right.
there's a lot of things happening here that a lot of people have noted. There's a moment uh, early on in the film when Ella and her boyfriend are in the car. He's driving her back home after their night out together, and she very specifically says, like he says, you've got to find your own voice, and she says, I don't have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that scene where she suggests to her mother that maybe she could help her come up with some ideas. And then the mother says to her, okay, what ideas do you have? And she can't say it. I believe that this movie I believe Ella was sexually abused as a child. I believe the kid is Ella at the age at which the abuse occurred. The Ashman represents her abuser. On the first night, he sees her. On the second night, he touches her. And on the third night, they never say specifically what he does. But if you remember from the film, at the very end, on the third night, he destroys her face. Like, completely demolishes her identity. Completely takes away any element of who she is. So here's what I think this movie is. The first portion with her mom is about what everybody thinks it's about. It's about her mother. The Cyclops in the short film, the Cyclops is her mom. Right? And the fact that it is a Cyclops represents her mom's singular focus on her work and her career, which also leads to her obliviousness to other things. Her mom also just uses and manipulates her, controls her to an extent that she's never able to develop her voice and express something. When it comes to that moment where her mother asks her what ideas she has, I believe this idea that we ultimately end up seeing is there. It's been germinating in her mind for a while. And she doesn't necessarily consciously know exactly what it is, but underneath it, she has a strong suspicion. And she's trying to talk to her mother and confront her mother about what happened to her. And then her mother goes comatose. And now she's left alone and she starts to break because she's been so domineered by her mother that her mother is the only thing she knows. And now she's starting to slip. And they tell her that that building is empty and she sees the child. And now she has to come. She can't finish her mother's film because those are not her ideas. She doesn't know where it needs to go. So she strips it down, she throws it all out, and she starts telling her own story. The young version of her, which is her at the age at which she was abused, is leading her through this story of what happened to her. She's finally finding a way to confront it and deal with it through this story, and she's finally starting to understand it. I believe the black egg represents the truth of what happened to her, and when it finally breaks at the end and you see the blood and the meat inside it, that's sort of like the moment where she finally has come to complete grips and accepted the truth of what happened. I think a lot of the problem here is along the way, her mother dies. She doesn't come back. And Ella is never able, because the whole reason she's an animator, the whole reason she's telling this story is to connect this story of what happened to her mother, and confront why it was allowed to happen, or if her mother knew, or if it cared at all. And then her mother dies, and now she's never going to be able to have that confrontation. She will never have any resolution, and that's when she cracks. starts mutilating herself, ultimately murders her boyfriend and her boyfriend's sister, and mutilates them and creates monsters of her own. I believe. So this is what I believe. This movie is a story of a woman who was controlled so much for so long that she was not able to tell her story, and when she was finally set free to tell her story, it drove her nuts to deal with it because she didn't have the outlet she ultimately needed. Now here's where it gets a little. For the first big portion of time, I thought that the Ashman, the abuser, was her father, because the relationship with her mother is so significant to this story that it's very interesting to me that the father is never mentioned at all. Like, not even in passing, not even a quick, this is why it's just her mom and her, none of that. And I started to think this was a situation of her father maybe did something and her mother was aware of it, but she was so caught up in her work and so single-minded that she either just ignored it or didn't care or what. But there's a scene in the middle of this movie where just before Ella's mom has the stroke and goes comatose, she's furious with Ella. She's angry with her. And she gets right up behind Ella, and she's not even telling her to make adjustments or do anything. She's just saying, don't move. Put your hands back on the doll. This very specific, very intense, don't move a muscle, don't do a thing, don't make a sound. And now I think her mother, in addition to being a dominant parent, controlling her child through those pursuits of animation and telling her child that she is nothing and is only good as a tool for somebody else's use. She's a puppet, is all she will ever be. I think goes hand in hand with that other. Like, I don't think the Ashman is a man at all. I think the abuser was her mother. I think this is about way more than just a controlling mom who wants to because why, like the whole element of following in her mother's footsteps in the first place. I just saw all these pieces lining up and locking into place. And that's what I think this movie is. I think this is a person who is dealing with an abusive, dominant parent for her entire life. And once that parent is no longer able to be a controlling presence, she immediately starts to try and reckon with what's been done to her. And then that parent dies, and she will never have her confrontation and resolution in any way. And it drives her crazy. And then she dies. And at the end, I think we're seeing that these are the two parts of Ella, right? They're both kind of dead, but the story is young Ella's. And adult Ella is just a puppet of that story. She's completely defined by what happened to her.
Oh, fuck. I feel nauseous.
Yeah.
Because all of that would make 100% sense. Because even like, let's take out the like very specific like it was definitely sexual abuse. It was definitely like there's so many components of that. Just even looking at this like from a very top level overbearing mother component that I think are so easy to say like, yeah, 100%. And then when you add the like tiny little bit of like this added thing that like hasn't been confirmed but works pretty well and just take it to another like step, it fits perfectly. And so Jesus, I don't have things to say. You kind of blew my mind because like so much of that is
It's
based in like what everybody got from the movie, but
right.
then adding that component just like
Yeah.
makes a
And
lot of
it
sense.
was it was little things, right? That like, because this was a movie that said to me after the first time I saw it, I was like, you this is a movie you can't watch casually. You have to pay attention to this movie. And once I'm in that mindset, I tell the story about how I was disappointed by the first Saw film just because I figured out where it was going like 20 minutes into the movie. And it's not but like there were little things here that just set off like bells to me that say like this is crucial to understanding this. And the two elements of it that really drove it home to me were number one, just the character of the Ash Man. Who is the Ash Man and what is the significance of that character? They repeat that three-night motif. On the first night, he sees her. On the second night, he touches her. And ultimately, on the third night, he consumes her. And just removes her person. And so that's where I was just like, and there's the black egg, right? What does he do? Like this is the most, like he vomits the black egg from his mouth and puts it down her throat, which is real on the nose once you look at it from that. It's a direction I think you might never look at it from, but once you do, and this is why I think the abuse, because it's an egg. It's an egg.
Mm-hmm.
And and the other one is that scene where she switches because she's giving her the commands right through the whole thing. Move it 2 millimeters, now half a millimeter to the left. Very slow, very little. And in that moment, if you just remove that dialogue, her lines out of context from the rest of that scene, and I just started thinking, she's saying, don't move a muscle. Don't make a sound. It's complete control. It's complete domination. And it got real bleak. So that's like I said, obviously I can't say for sure that's really what it is, but that's what I saw in this movie. And maybe I'm just seeing way more than is really there. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so caught up in it. Michelle already knows this. But I
was
sent
going to ask about this.
I sent an Instagram direct message to Robert Morgan, the co-writer and director of this film, because I had to at least try, right? And I knew in the back of my head there was no way I was going to get an answer. And he was like, respectfully, he's like, I really enjoy the ideas you have there, and I see the connections you're making, but I just won't say one way or the other. He refused to confirm or deny in the most friendly way possible. But I don't know. It's that's what I saw in it. And I don't know if anybody else did, but maybe. I don't know.
I
This
think
this is my
there's
favorite
gonna
movie of the
be
year right now, I'll tell you that much.
there's going to be a significant number of people who who do hear that, and if they weren't thinking about it before, they are now, because holy shit, I definitely am. I thought this was like, oh shit, stop motion's creepy, right? I love stop motion. It's really freaky. It always makes me uncomfortable. And now I feel like I feel physically nauseous.
Yeah,
Because so much of
it's
that makes sense.
grotesque. It's and there is so many of the reviews I read, like, and this is why, Michelle, this is why, like, part of the message I sent to him was I specifically talk about narrative symbolism. So many of the reviews I read about this talk about, first of all, they talk about the child, and they, like, so many of them are like, just another, she's just like this creepy neighbor girl who lives in her building. No, she doesn't. The moment they first arrive at that building, her boyfriend tells her they're gutting the building and it'll be empty for weeks. Nobody lives there. Nobody ever interacts with the child, of course. But in these reviews also, they talk about how it's about becoming obsessed with your art, and it is. It's about dealing with an overbearing dominant parent, which it is. But none of them ever seem to think there's any significance at all to the stop motion movie that the child is getting Ella to make. I haven't read anything that talks about that, and that, to me, is crucial to understanding the whole thing. Like, what, like, yes, she's become obsessed with art, with this project, but why? What's feeding that obsession? Just her mom being a legendary animator who didn't give her enough attention and used her as a tool? No, there's way more going on there.
I think most people aren't thinking of it deeper because there are so many films where there wouldn't be a deeper meaning, where this has been done so many times that we just go, yeah, we've seen this trope. Because that's what I thought when I saw it. I went, oh, yeah, we've seen this. This is just done really well for the thing that we've seen over and over and over again. And for a lot of creators, they would not have gone into that level. But I also have seen you do this with so many movies now where you do pick up on shit. Like, you guys, if you are questioning like, oh, JD is just making shit up, go read his last night or late night with the devil blog, because no one I know has caught the things he caught, and he has screenshots of everything, and not a single place have I seen any of them reference it. So like his mind is just built different, like a like Ford truck. Is that their slogan? You're a
No,
Ford truck. Is
built
that
for
built
different. Yeah.
different? Built Ford
No,
different.
I just I noticed detail, right? We just Michelle in her anyway. So yeah, guys, fucking this would be a Six Skull movie if it could be. This is this is fucking top level shit. I loved it. Let's move on to something else I want to talk about just briefly while we're here. If you listen to the Michelle in Review episode, Michelle told us that she saw two movies that were some of the very best horror movies she's seen all year. She talked about one that she said is pretty sure it's her favorite horror film of the year. It's a movie, Spanish film, I believe, called La Mesita del Comedor, The Coffee Table. This has been talked about a lot by a lot of people. Michelle said it was probably her favorite horror movie of the year so far. I got to give that to Stop Motion right now. But I watched The Coffee Table today, and what
You
the
gotta be
fuck?
careful because there's some connections that I.
What the fuck? There was a point I was going to be making here about something that I saw in The Coffee Table, and now I don't remember what it was, and I did that whole build up for nothing, and now everybody's laughing at me. They're like,
I don't think
"Oh,
anybody
you
can laugh
can."
at you after hearing the in-depth analysis you just did of a movie
I
that
was,
nobody else was taking that seriously.
I was just, I don't know. Man. Now you're
And
making
I
me
just got nervous because
self-conscious.
there were some things you said in your stop motion review that I was thinking like, oh no, he watched The Coffee Table today too.
Yeah, I
But
did.
I also don't want anybody to know anything about the coffee table before
No.
they go into it.
No, see it.
Yeah.
See that there. God damn it, there was a reason I brought it up, and then I got so carried away in this ridiculous introduction that I completely forgot what I was gonna say.
Was it gonna say that I didn't? I said that I've seen two of my favorite movies of 2024, and I did not list Stop Motion.
No, no,
Oh,
there was
okay.
something in the coffee table that I was gonna reference.
Oh,
And
okay.
now I don't remember at all what it
Well, that's fair.
was.
I was ready to defend myself and say that yes, I fucking love stop motion. It's one of my favorites of the year, but it has to go in the Shudder specific category. Now that it came out on Shudder, so it has to be removed, and I just need people to know that if they're like, "What? You saw the two best movies of 2024?" Yeah, but we have a completely separate Shudder list. What?
Yeah,
Have you not listened to our
we
last
got to
two
do best of
recap
Shudder and then
episodes at
best
the
of
end of the
not
year?
Shudder.
Yeah, exactly. What? You're new here and you haven't gone back and paused and listened to every episode?
Guys,
How dare you?
there are only 210 of them. What like look, I can tell you in a Michelle, did you find that squelch by the way?
Oh, yeah, it's saved already. It's cataloged. It's in the
Uh,
folder.
so look, guys, there's 210 episodes besides this one. Really, when it's not asking too much. It's only 137 hours, 48 minutes, and 7 seconds of content. That's like what, like 5 days, maybe
Yeah.
6 days.
You don't need to sleep. You don't need to talk to your loved ones. You know
No,
what? I'd say you don't have to eat, but you do have to eat. But you know what? You can just IV. You could IV for 5 days and not have to leave. You might want to get up and stretch, but you can do that while the podcast plays. You
is
know
it?
what? You could do most things while the podcast plays. You could go for a walk. How dare you? Not.
Is
Yeah,
the
like you could even eat while listening to the. The more I talk about it, the more I don't have a reason for these people to not listen to 157 hours or whatever it was. How
137
dare you?
hours, 48 minutes, and 7
Oh,
seconds?
okay. Yeah, see, that's so much easier. It's a whole day
Guys,
off.
is it obvious that we are just desperately scrambling and reaching for any dumb thing to talk about to get away from the bleakness of what I just dumped on everybody?
I could tell you about
Oh.
my adventures in the Theodore Roosevelt National Park today.
Oh yeah, what happened there? Did you
Uh,
did you approach a buffalo again?
well, kind of. It approached
Oh
me.
god.
While we're driving through the Theodore Roosevelt National Park and getting very spotty service, every time I got service, it would just be JD's recount of the coffee table, just like holy shit, and making memes and stuff. And it was great. And then in between, I'm encountering bison. And at one point, we came around a corner in the car, and we had to stop because the oncoming traffic was a bison, and it walked right past the car. It was just clippy clopping. He had a beautiful beard. He was very majestic and great, and he snorted like right by our car. And so both times I have gone to that park, there's been a bison right by the car that was just like super chill. So that's my highlight of my day, and I'm just
Michelle?
trying not to end on a sad note.
No, I am so glad you told that story because you gave me enough to remember why I brought up the coffee table. It came up
Oh,
right
good. You're
after
welcome. I
I
definitely did
was
that on purpose.
I know. It came up right after I was talking about how I figured out what was happening in the first Saw film within the first 20 minutes or so. I'm not going to tell you guys what it was. We were watching the coffee table today, and what a shot pops up, and there's a line being spoken. And I was also watching the subtitles because it's in Spanish, and I speak English and not Spanish because I'm a lazy one language American white person. But I sent Michelle a screen grab that I added text over that said, well, this is definitely a thing that's gonna happen, and it's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Because you learn to watch movies like that, or at least I do. I just I see details, guys, and this movie had all these details where it's like, oh, this mom really fucked up that kid's life.
Yeah, if you've seen the coffee table and you want to see some of JD's ranting, because I'm sure he's probably deleted the messages already. That's what he does. I have them still. And when he sent us an image like 5 minutes in and went, "Oh, this is definitely what's going to happen," Jenna and I just looked at it together and went, "Oh my God, he doesn't know." Because then after that, he sent many other theories, but that was the first one. So we're like, okay, he has not fully figured it out. But then I knew you figured it out because all your messages started coming through in caps lock with typos. And I went, yep, he got to the part. He knows what's going on in this movie now.
Caps lock and
Yeah.
typos. That'll be the
Yeah. I was
title
like,
of
you
my
can tell.
autobiography. Caps lock
Caps
and
lock and
typos. The
typos.
JD Provorst story.
Exactly. Because I was like, oh, he's not even
Oh,
taking a second to proofread this, and you were a phenomenal writer. So I'm just like, yep, he's lost in the sauce, that coffee
I'm
table sauce.
I would not go so far as to say phenomenal because I have self-esteem issues, but I do think I'm a pretty good writer. What I am not is a good typer. I am a terrible keyboarder. Terrible. I cannot type to save my life.
You want to know how good of a
Sad.
writer I am? 3 weeks ago, I said I was going to write a blog about the Sphere in Las Vegas, and I
And
still just have a Microsoft Word document with various fragments. It's like 7 pages long, but I cannot make it cohesive. I'm just like, these are the ramblings of like the guy stuck in the wall in the Portal video game. That's me. I'm the Rat Man. I've just got just fragments
Michelle,
that somebody will find as they're trying to portal their way away from an AI computer that hates them.
here's another thing that sometimes happens on our show is we just suddenly have ideas and talk about them. Michelle, here's how many pages of just thoughts and fragments do you have?
I think I'm up to 7. I'll go open it. I've been
He-
avoiding it. I'm not a good
no,
writer.
here's what we should do. I want you to send me those thoughts and fragments, and I will try to put them together in some way while adding my own little bit of creative and comedic flair. Maybe it'll be hilarious.
Um, there's a section in here where I was half asleep and I rolled over and went, "Oh, I've got to put that in the blog. I forgot to mention it." So it's like all my T's are R's. I did not spell anything. Going is spelled SOINF because I was just half asleep, but I knew what that means. I was trying to say make the argument, and it's RHE space. Okay, this is argument.
Okay,
A
maybe
R F U M E N R.
yeah, maybe this is a terrible idea. I don't want to
Um,
have to wade through your nightmare typing.
Try to interpret these several lines. Funyuns, no internet, buildings looked weird. I have a lot of thoughts about the sphere.
Clearly,
Yeah, but they
did,
just don't
did
make sense to anyone but me. Funyuns, no internet, buildings looked weird.
did you was it that you did they not have internet service available for visitors at the Sphere?
I'm pretty sure. Well, this is the part I'm definitely putting in the blog, but I was gonna say it felt wrong to go to this sphere experience, aka the
Experience.
experience. You guys, you
It's
fucked up the
right there. It's
experience. I'm so
right
mad.
there. Come
And I
on.
can guarantee somebody proposed it and they went, "No." I
People
know
don't
somebody can, and
people
they
don't
got
appreciate a
outvoted.
good portmanteau.
No, and they're dumb. But it was something about how I felt like going to this movie at the Sphere about like consumerism and how people are destroying the world and stuff, and eating Funyuns during it felt like a fucking sin. It's like I'm eating something that's pretending to be a vegetable. This is the worst choice. Like it felt like, oh, I should not, like, this is the least realistic food. It's like like freeze dried onion. It's not like it's a space food. And here I am watching this thing about like humans ruin everything natural. And I'm like, yeah, I'm eating a fucking Funyun while I'm watching this in a gigantic orb in the middle of Las Vegas. I felt so gross while eating fun. Well, not because of the Funyuns. It's not the Funyuns' fault. They are delicious. They have fun in the name. But it just felt wrong,
You can't
when
you
like
can't put fun in your name if it's not true.
yeah, that's so
That's
true.
the law or something.
That is the law. And Funyuns, they know the law. They knew what they were making. But yeah, Funyuns. I had a whole rant about Funyuns in here, and it's not as funny as hey, like
I thought it was
not
pretty good.
funny has fun in it. But unfunny also has fun in it. So you know what? I guess there's fun whether you're funny or not. So maybe I will put out my ramblings about the sphere. I got some. You have thoughts about stop motion. I have thoughts about the gigantic Las Vegas orb.
Okay,
Yeah, that's
fabulous.
all.
Sorry, I got
I have
distracted
thoughts.
by a picture of a man in a rat costume.
Were you looking up the portal rat man?
No, I was not looking up the
Oh,
portal rat man. I was just browsing
you
my
just get
Facebook because I'm
notifications.
rude.
Oh, okay. I thought
I
like you got
just
a Google notification. JD loves rats, and I thought you had like subscribed to Google Alerts whenever there's a new Google listing of like Rat Man, you get like a ping on your phone. You're like, oh fuck, gotta go see what the Rat Man's up to. And if you don't know how to sign up for Google Alerts to get those kind of notifications, I can show you. I have my own notifications for squelches.
I just did a Google search for portal rat man.
Yeah.
I don't see it.
Well, yeah, that's because you never see him. It's just the ramblings that you find throughout the game, and he's
Oh.
his last name is Ratman.
Oh,
But
Doug Ratman?
yeah,
Oh,
and
okay, I get
he's
it.
the Ratman, and he
I
lives in the
see.
walls of Portal.
I thought you were talking about like a splinter.
No, let's talk about Aperture Science. They do what they must because they can for the good of all of us, except the ones who are dead.
Yeah, Jonathan Colton wrote that song.
Yeah,
He wrote a whole bunch of really good songs.
yeah. R.E. Brains,
Yeah,
great
Are
song.
Your Brains?
Also, 1st of May,
Hey, Tom, it's
great song.
Bob from the office down the hall. It's good to see you, buddy. How you been? I'm not
Things
gonna
have
sit
been
here and do
okay
all
for
the
me,
lyrics. No, let's.
except that I'm a
No,
zombie now. Oh, okay.
no,
I told
stop.
you this was a lyric heavy episode, and I have nothing to contribute after you broke my, just like Ella's brain broke when she had an egg forced into her mouth by a claymation creature that she created. My brain broke when you put the thoughts about what that egg represent into it.
That's her realization of the truth.
Yeah, I hate it. I mean,
Yeah,
it
it's
makes
brutal.
100% sense, and
It's
I fucking
fucking
hate it. And
brutal, but
I
all right.
know why the creator would not want to confirm, but Robert Morgan and Robin King, if you're listening and you have not thought like that deep into it, and JD just made a bunch of shit up, you know what? Just take the idea and say that's exactly right, because then we still get the benefit of saying, look, JD was right, and you get the benefit of being like, everybody missed all this deep symbolism. I think this would be a very symbiotic relationship for both of us. I think, like, you know what? If you didn't have the idea,
Oh,
you can have the idea now. If you have a better idea, cool. We're down to hear it. But if you didn't think of it and you're like, no, man, I was just trying to make a
we
creepy movie because Gumby scarred me. The blockheads, fuck the blockheads from Gumby. I mean, not
we
really. Nope. I'm sure people find the blockheads
we
sexy.
got
Anyway, what's up?
we got to put some ad budget behind this one, don't we?
Oh yeah. Yeah. This is the one that's really gonna. We just gotta make sure that Robert Morgan and Robin King listen to it, because holy shit! Like, I do hope that they had a way better idea than what you came up with, and that they tell the rest of us, because I don't know how they're gonna top it, but I want them to.
I don't know. I don't know, Michelle.
It's a personal challenge to them. Bring it on. Now we're battling. I
All
don't know
right,
why I'm trying to
so
fight the makers of this movie that we like. I'm an angler, no, not an anglerfish, a beta fish, and I saw a reflection of myself in the glass, and now I'm agitated. That's what I am. I'm a
my dog
Sherpa wearing beta
my
fish.
dog is scratching one ear with his other ear pressed up against the bottom of my shoe. And that
He's trying
tells
to get
me
the voices from me outside of his show.
oh Jesus, we are at almost an hour, Michelle, and we did a half hour the other night. 90 minutes worth of episodes about stop motion. I bet if you actually put the stuff about stop motion, it's about 45. And we're the ones. I'm the one who always bitches about things being longer than they need to be. What is wrong with me?
I would never do that. Hey-o.
Oh, that's what you said.
That's what I said. Okay.
You know what else?
Can
you know what else?
Yeah, I do know what I say.
Yeah. Oh, what did you want to say?
Oh, well, I knew you were queuing me up and I wasn't going to ruin it. But I just have nothing to contribute. That's all.
Oh, no,
I thought
I
would have nothing to contribute.
No, I thought I interrupted you. You were about to say something, and then I was going to cut you off and make you just say goodnight, Michelle.
Yeah, and I was about to say that I have nothing to contribute anyway,
I said say goodnight, Michelle.
Oh, okay. Good night, Michelle.
For more horror content, visit WeWatchShudder.com, where you'll find our world-famous, patent-pending Ghoul blog and Squelch files, as well as a schedule of upcoming episodes. Find us on social media at WeWatchShudder on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and I guess Twitter if you're still doing that for whatever reason. You can email us. mail@WeWatchShudder.com is the address. mail@WeWatchShudder.com. You can even call and leave us a voicemail, 701-566-9510. No, really. 701-566-9510. Give it a shot. See what happens. We Watch Shudder is a production of Rat Factory Media.